Welcome to Still Plays Galaxy of Heroes. This is a Conquest video, and we are on Conquest 18. Today's Sector 2 as we work towards Jocasta New. Looking at the feat progress that we made, along with the squads that we used to accomplish those feats. And Sector 2 is an easy one. You should be able to knock out all of these feats in a single run through the sector. The Datadisks that I chose and my thought process behind them, and how I tackled the boss nodes. With the completion of Sector 2, we have made some decent progress with the global feats. We're halfway on the Night Sisters, that's 10 battles with the Great Mother. We're about halfway with the Inquisitors. I did some of that on Sector 1, but the Inquisitors were the team I was leaning on whenever I was getting low on stamina and needed to complete a node that the sector characters weren't handling. Usually was going for them because I don't need to use them in Sector 3. I'll be using them in Sector 4, which will give them time for their stamina to recover. You can see we completed the crit chance down feat. For Sector 2 though, an easy 4 for 4. We have the mercenary units, evasion up 50 times, crit damage down 50 times, and win 10 with Great Mother surviving. And to tackle this efficiently, only need to use a few squads. One is a dash lead. Doesn't have to be dash lead, but it was my preference. And Han is the other key character here because Han with his shrug, never tell me the odds, that gives AoE evasion up. With dash, his AoE ability is going to be spreading the crit damage down. The crit damage down is going to take a little bit longer. The evasion up is going to be super quick. And actually what I ended up doing was after this squad started losing stamina, and after I was done with the evasion up feat, that is when I switched over to Balin's Skull, if you have Balin's Skull. And then I didn't use Han in that slot. What I did was I threw in dash in this location to keep working on mercenaries and getting those crit damage down progression. So that's working on 3 feats between those 2 squads. And other than dash, not getting too low on stamina. Really only going down to like 50% or so with either squad lead. And if you don't have Balin's Skull, you can accomplish similar things by slotting dash into a bounty hunter squad. That way if stamina is becoming an issue, you have an alternative. And for our final feat, going for those Great Mother wins, we're just using a Great Mother squad. I did put Night Trooper into the squad because Night Trooper works towards that global feat with crit chance down. And I was able to very quickly just complete that global feat by throwing him in. But once I completed the global feat, took him out because I want him to be fresh on stamina for Sector 4 when I'm going to be needing some Imperial Remnant characters. And then I like to bring in Night Trooper because Night Trooper taunting helps protect Morgan and just make things a little bit more survivable and make sure I get my 3 stars on a node, which would get important going up against some of the tougher enemies as stamina was getting lower. For my Datadisk choices, we have Undercover, Evasives, Critical Tactics. Only thing tempting here is the Undercover. The lower node had junk, just mostly grays, 1 green. At the Crossroads, we have a Fortified on top and a blue Ruthless Swiftness, but I already have one of those. The middle and Evasive, I don't care about any of that disc. In the bottom route, we've got Painful Trials, Critical Tactics. And in this case, I just grabbed the green Fortified. I like Fortified. I skipped a blue one earlier, so I wanted to grab one now that I had an opportunity. At the next fork, we're looking at a green Undercover, but I just grabbed a blue one and some gray junk. But because there's nothing I like, I just grabbed the green Undercover. I think I even forgot that I had a better one. And at the boss node, Power, Entrenched, Fortified. We already have the Entrenched from Sector 1, so this time, even though I just grabbed a green Fortified, upgrading that with the blue kind of undoes these choice to skip it the first time around. And at the start of Sector 3, stuff that's junk, but I just grabbed the Evasive Technique because it's the best available. For the middle boss node, we have Padawan Sabine in the squad and Hokey Religions. And if you watched the Sector 1 video, I used Spectre on the boss node and was kind of surprised that I was able to beat it because I've got low stars and gear 11 on most of these characters and exiles at low stamina. But I wanted to try it anyway because they impressed me the first time around. And in this case, they continue to impress me. Now we have to deal with crew to start, but we have Dispel on Chopper, going after Sith Trooper first, so if we take out anybody, he's not getting that bonus turn. Throwing around the backup plan, but it's also the perfect defense, looking at which characters had the tenacity up and the defense up, so that when we convert to perfect defense, Getting decent attacks out of Huying and Padawan Sabine. Now that Sith Trooper's gone, going for Hux, because Hux is the next problem with the turn meter manipulation, or not the turn meter manipulation, but the turn manipulation and cooldown manipulation. Dispel the taunt and return to our attacks. Paying attention to my tenacity up and defense up situation, you can see we get perfect defense on everybody at this stage. Hux is gone. Now going after Executioner. Next threat. Going for Stormtrooper because he's almost near death. And now the final one. And this Spectre squad, it's been doing work. And this is what I talk about. Just don't be afraid of these low star, low gear teams. Especially these days, CG has made some strong kits. Although this doesn't work in Grand Arena though, I've tried. And for Hokey religions, just use that Great Mother squad. You can see here 50% stamina. I've swapped in Night Sister Zombie because at this stage we were done with the crit chance down. You'll see some of what Zombie offers to the squad and why I like to use Zombie. The only thing you can't do is have Asajj Ventress because Ventress counts as an unaligned force user, but everybody else is free. We knock out crew super quick. I then threw the Doomed on Sith Trooper because I don't want those AoE abilities to possibly take out Spirit or Acolyte. Now it's just easy. Just quick work on these remaining characters. And I believe this accomplishes 2 feats, both the Node feat and the Sector feat. Yeah. For the final boss, we have dark side characters and win with a full squad of Galactic Republic Jedi. And at this stage, I was already done with mercenaries, so I didn't use Balin's Skull. That would be an option. I just swapped to a global feat and worked with the Inquisitors here. And this is just overpowers the node. But you're going to have tons of options for dark side characters. I'm just looking at those opportunities where I can be doing multiple things at once. And since we were already done with the sector, it was no longer a concern by the time we hit the boss node. But that might not be true for everybody. People might be spreading out attacks. You could also do Great Mother here if you're not done with Great Mother. But because Great Mother did Hokey religions for me on the middle boss, that was my focus. And for Galactic Republic Jedi, I want to give myself a little bit more of a challenge. You could obviously do a JMK squad. Just remember to take out Cat, because Cat isn't a Jedi character. I wanted to do Kelleran lead, just to give myself a little bit more of a challenge, and to make sure that this squad could handle it. Because obviously JMK was going to win, and me showing footage like I just did with the Inquisitors, just plowing through the node, isn't as helpful as making sure that a little bit of a weaker Jedi squad is still going to be able to do well. The one thing to keep in mind here though is I do have Blindside as one of my data disks, which is awesome with these assisting teams because it's landing those exposes. You can see the 4 stacks of expose over on Scarif, the 4 stacks that we just had on Radis. It makes some quick work out of these characters. It's part of the reason I love that Blindside data disk and always grab it. So that's Sector 2. I'm going to have Sector 3 up very quickly. I still got to get out my Datacron video. You can go over to the Discord where I've put my breakdown, or at least a graphic of how I'm looking at it. But it's going to take a little bit longer just because of the amount of things that we have to do at the start of Conquest, and we're prioritizing these sector videos right now. But thank you for watching. Be excellent to each other, everybody. This is Still Plays Galaxy of Heroes.